Hey everyone, what's the crack? Lawrence here with the BDH H1SQ shifter in this suspiciously brown, unsuspecting box. I'm very excited about this one. I had the H1, this one also has sequential. Let's do this. So first things first, this is the sequential and H pattern mode. So this is the newest version of the H1. I did have the H1. I've actually given that one away. I gave that away as a subscriber prize at the Dortmund Sim Racing Expo, and it went to Stephen Mullen, one of the guys in our community, who's using that a lot more than I was able to use it because I'm reviewing other hardware. I was very excited and I knew that I would be getting this one in the future, so there's no real point in having the old one. So I won't be comparing them side by side, but I did do a long-term review on the H1, so I'm excited about seeing this, where it progresses. You'll remember the H1 came in like a fancy case and stuff. That was just for me. That's not the way that they normally get presented. So I'm not sure how they normally do get presented. I would like to see some more than just this brown box. For transport and stuff, this box makes perfect sense. This is a very, very high-end shifter, guys. And unlike most of my first impressions videos, I have actually used this. I've used this at the expo and I really, really enjoyed it. So let's see. Okay, looks like we've got some fancy packaging here. This is nice. So I was hoping to see something like this. Very clean, very chic. Because when you've spent this much money on a shifter, guys, you want it to be a little bit of an experience. I do anyway. I know the box will probably go in the bin or into the attic or whatever. Let's lift this here. Really, really tight box. Can't wait to see the comments after that. Okay, nice little welcome here. A Mark II Escort on the side here. We've got the shifter and built for racing. There is a QR code. That's just for their website and nothing on the back. Now, okay, there we go. Important, to keep warranty, please watch the videos on the USB. Okay, that is interesting. I'll have to do that before I get it on the rig. But this, in general, very nicely presented. Let's take this out. It's kind of hard to take the bits out. Okay, so that knob is very nice. That is way nicer than what I had on the H1. You remember I had that kind of white shift knob on it. I really like that. I'd like it even more if it had like a, you know, H pattern on it, but some people drive 4-speed, some drive 5, some 6, some even 7 or whatever. So maybe that's, you know, maybe it's just a safer option to go the very, very easy way. We've got some bolting hardware here. So some T-slot nuts and some bolts. I like that they've gone for the spring-loaded T-slot nuts. I mean, when you're paying this much for a shifter, you expect good mounting hardware, and it seems like they've given that with it. It looks, at a glance, it looks so similar. Oh, here we go. There's a little USB key that just fell out of that. Watch the videos on the USB. I thought it was saying watch videos about the USB port and that I would have to go and find those videos. I will go through this USB cable in a minute. Super, super tight fit in there, which is great. Just means that, you know, nothing can move around in transport. There's nothing else in there. Let's put that off to the side. And then it should be a simple case. Now it was in a gear. Should be a simple case of just installing this here. This should just thread into place. And then there we are. That's that part. This tucks in there nicely. We've got the shifting hole, the mounting holes just under here. They're underneath. With the H1, the non-sequential, we were also able to side mount it onto the outside of the profile. Now, I have a new rig now that doesn't allow that, so I will be base mounting that. But it does look like with relatively easy, just loosening these, you might just be able to side mount that. Then we have this here, which I'm guessing is for the resistance. It's a, oh God, like I've felt this before. I've used it before, you know. My God. So I have the Simagic shifter on the rig at the moment. While that's a great shifter, absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's very, very handy. It does sequential and manual. And it's like, it's good at both, but it's not excellent at both. This so far, I mean, this feels very similar to the H1. which is nice. So I wouldn't be surprised if they've just gone with a similar kind of a setup. Let's take this sticker off here, and we will watch that little video on the USB. Now these look like they turn, which they seem to. Maybe I need to put that in. I think that, is that how you change it to sequential? No. I'll have to just figure out how to actually change that to sequential. Maybe you have to do this. There we go. Okay, now we're in sequential mode. Now the first thing that I notice is that that's a fairly empty, there's not a big click there. There's no click actually. So while there's good resistance, the only thing that you feel is the end stop. So when it actually hits the end here, but there's no mechanical clunk. Let me just grab another shifter to tell you what I'm talking about. So the sound of this shifter, there's like no sound. You guys probably can't hear anything here because there is no sound. If we were to take even a very simple, this is a cheap sequential shifter, the Moza, there's something happening. With the BDH, nothing happening. Now maybe I haven't engaged that properly. I wonder if I tighten that up now, will that give me something? Oh, that's too tight. Too tight. No. Oh, there we go. Okay. Now we've got something. Right, so this was too loose. Okay, so we've no left and right movement. So comparing that, right, I can instantly say way better than the Moza. Let's check out the H1SQ. Now this one's going to be hard to shift. Like this is a hardcore shift. This one is better for sure. We'll take something like the V&M. So the V&M also just a more kind of a hardcore shift. Now it is very, very difficult with any H pattern shifter to get that sequential right as well. You kind of always have a little bit of a compromise. I don't know if there are any exceptions to that rule. I did like the look of the MME shifter. That looks really good. But there's some bit of compromise, and I think that it's funny, right? Because so I'm used to those kind of shifters, standalone shifters. I have to review them and I have to hold them to a very high standard. This sequential shift is better than the Simagic. It's better than Fanatec for sure. Just comparing this to other H pattern and sequential shifters that I've had, SHH, the Fanatec, the V&M, this is by far the best sounding sequential. It's not too loud either, which for me is a consideration, right? My wife and kids are usually, you know, in the house while I'm racing. Don't really want to be annoying them. So while there's a good amount of noise off that, it's not too much. And as you saw, if we just loosen this up, if noise is a concern, you can completely get rid of the noise but keep the functionality, which is one thing that I absolutely love about the Simagic, that you can do that. Now, if you go too tight with it, you can see that it will get stuck. If we just loosen that slightly, that should pop back. There we go. So that's as tight as we can go. Now that's a fairly solid shift, to be honest. Yeah, okay. So while I had a little rocky start there, a little bit of a moment like, oh my God, does this thing not make noise? Because I used it at a sim racing expo, and you just don't hear the noise because there's so many noises going on. So I just had a little bit of an oh shit moment there, just in case it didn't make noise, but it makes a good noise, and it makes as much or as little noise as you want, which for me is worth money. I don't know about all of you. For me, that's worth a lot. USB cable is not disconnectable, but it is a braided USB cable, so that's quite nice. And it looks gorgeous, guys. It's a little piece of art. It's like one of those James Bond bombs that needs to be diffused. I absolutely love it. Maybe I'm biased because I already love the H1. This surely is better, but I'm going to kick the crap out of it. We're going to do our first impressions video today, but I will be doing a long-term review as well. I do a lot of H pattern driving, a lot of rally, a lot of drifting, so this thing is going to get dog's abuse over the coming months. Let's get it on the rig. Let's try it out. So here we are in the rig. It looks familiar, and I have used this at an expo. Similar to some of the other products that I do first impressions on. I have used this before. It's different when it's on your own rig. And this looks every bit as nice. It actually looks, I think, a little bit nicer. It doesn't have like the little, the mount on the H1, the non-sequential version, wasn't as nice as this. So I like this mount. I like that this is hand adjustable. We'll cover that in a little while. And it really looks great. It looks at home on my shifter mount here. I think the way that it changes from H pattern like this to sequential like this is genius. I think it's quicker than any other shifter. I think it's the quickest change. Some people had expressed concerns over the sequential. I will be giving the sequential a drive. It does feel good to me right now. And one thing that I'm really that I love, and I'm just going to cut straight to the chase. I love, and what I loved about my H1SQ Q1 shifter, I loved that I could just hand adjust this, because when it's late at night and the kids are all asleep and everything, I can just really, really quietly do this. Then tighten it up until the point where it gets stuck. Bring it back just ever so slightly. It should pop back out of place. There we go. Oh, that's still a little too tight. There we go. And now you have a full, like, a good feeling sequential shifter. So we'll do that in a moment. We'll start with H pattern. I have chosen a treat of a car for you guys. So I'm going to be taking the Mazda 787B for a drive at Nords, of course. And so this should be a bit of a, I don't know, it should be a bit of I don't know, a bit of a treat for us all. I think I already know what I'm going to say about this shifter, just because it feels really good. I just want to drive it in anger, make sure that it feels like its predecessor. From early just moving it around, it feels very, very similar. Alright, let's go. Flat shifting it here. Oh my god. Oh, that was me. Oh my god. Oh god, oh god. Nearly crashed it. Oh my god. It's such a... Do you know what? From an immersion point of view, I think the steering wheel is too large. This is a 350mm steering wheel. I don't know what the size the steering wheels were in these things. Oh my god, this is so good. I don't even know what I just said. it feels so authentic. Like, I've never sat in one of these, don't get me wrong. I've never driven one. But this is what I imagine the gear shifter to feel like. Oh my god, it's such a short shift. Like, it's like, oh god. The aggression of that shift is so good. Oh, I could drive here for hours. We're only a minute into the lap. Oh my god, this feels absolutely incredible. The throw of that shifter, everything is just so nice. Heel toe, the accuracy of the shifts. I mean, I know it's not cheap, guys. Ah, it's so good. I think it's better than the H1, is it? I don't know. The H1 was very, very good. But my god, this just now feels like the most incredible H pattern experience. Oh, it's really, I've genuinely got butterflies on my stomach right now. It's probably just the immersion of this car and this track and everything that's going on. Oh, but it's pure joy. It is absolutely pure joy. I think it's the noise as well. Oh, nearly lost it. Jeez, that noise. The back end nearly going, oh, that's too hot, and I crashed it. That just cost a couple of million. Oh my god, what an incredible experience though. My god, like, I have no doubts whatsoever. Let's do a little bit of sequential. So because Nordschleife was just so much fun, I'm going to see can I match it with a Caterham 7 race car. This is a little beast of a thing. All I need to do to go into sequential mode is rotate this and it should be in sequential mode, I think. Now it's in sequential mode. Incredible. So good. Alright. This is a sequential car to the best of my knowledge. Okay. Into first gear. You guys can see the little gear indicator. Maybe you can't because my camera will probably be obstructing it. Oh god. This is going to be fun, I think. Do I even need a clutch? I think it's quicker with the clutch. Yeah, it's definitely a quicker shift with the clutch. Oh, it's 6-speed. This is one of those great drive. Ooh, doesn't really steer as well as the Mazda. This is one of those rare sequential, manual sequential experiences where you still have to heel toe. And the brakes are super sensitive. Like the sequential, I guess I'm more of a fan of H pattern, but the sequential, it's a nice H pattern, or sorry, nice sequential experience. Is it the best sequential experience? Probably not. I think I've used better sequential shifters, but have I used better combi units? As in, is the Simagic or the Fanatec or the SHH or the VNM, are any of those better than this? Definitely not. Definitely not. God, this is slow compared to slow compared to the Mazda. Maybe that's part of maybe that was part of the Mazda thrill, but jeez, this does feel nice. It feels incredibly good. It's a lovely sequential experience. Let's see how it is for the hard heel toe downshift here. I'll lift off slightly here. Ooh, the front is very light. Here we go. Oh, it's rapid. It does give, in both modes, it seems to be giving me a lot of confidence. To the point that I absolutely stacked it in the Mazda, but it's hard to talk and do a video and drive in anger, you know, because I haven't driven it, I haven't practiced here or anything. So... I was getting nice and loose there. Oh my god, it's so good. It's so, like, I didn't really have many doubts. And I often worry when you already think you're gonna like a product, it can often massively disappoint. And in these first impressions videos especially, I just can't hide how I feel, so sometimes they don't go as I expected. But this is, I mean, this is better than I expected. This feels better than, and one of the reasons I chose the Caterham was because I drove the Caterham on their rig at the Dortmund Expo, but it didn't feel anything as good as this. This feels excellent. Now this is my rig, so I guess I have a lot of familiarity here. But this, yeah, it feels fantastic. Let's not bin it here now this time. So good. So good. Sold. I'll take it. Lads, you wouldn't want to have, what is it, €1,300 burning a hole in your pocket. This would be what you'd buy. This would be it. It is fantastic. Let's go into the summary. So, the BDH H1SQ shifter is, oh, it's everything I hoped it would be. It's lovely. It's expensive. I know it's expensive, and many people are just here in the comments to complain about how expensive it is. People who will buy this thing thrive on the fact that it's out of reach for most people. And I know that sounds elitist, and I know many people will not like that, but that is a fact. This is a status symbol, and it gives just incredible experience. The best shifter I've ever used. Definitely the best one I've ever had on the rig. Just phenomenal. The fact that I can switch so easily between H pattern and sequential. I'm in sequential, I do this, I'm in H pattern. Like, that is, I don't like the word game changing, and it's not unique as such. There are quick change shifters out there, but this is mad quick, to the point where I'd love to see how this holds up over time. So I'm going to be doing a long-term review on this as well, and I'm going to be, you know, pardon my French, kicking the shite out of this thing. I'm gonna drift it, I'm gonna rally it, and I'm really going to put it through its paces. Not necessarily try to break it, but if it broke doing what I'm going to be doing with it, I wouldn't be surprised. Just because now I'm that aggressive with all shifters, and I've never broken one yet. So it's not a, you know, I'm not trying to break it, but I am not going to be gentle with it. And this thing just, it's like inviting me. It's like ram through those gears, go as fast as you can. It feels better than it did at the Expo, and I don't know why. I just don't know why. Because I used it for the first time back in Dortmund in October of last year, and it didn't feel like this. This is exactly why I want hardware in my own rig, because it gives the authentic experience. And guys, if you have the money burning a hole in your pocket, it's the one. Get it. You will not regret it. I don't think there's anything like it out there. Maybe that MMA shifter. People rant and rave about that. I have never reviewed that. But my God, it is just so good. I wish I had more constructive feedback. I didn't show reverse. To go reverse, you have to kind of lift it. So I've got reverse down here. So this is 6th gear, but then reverse, you have to kind of lift. That's a little heavy, but that's okay. So if you push further, the gear, it kind of jumps up a bit. But you can see how hard I'm pushing that because my whole mount is bending slightly. When it's in neutral mode, it's got a little bit of back and forward. It's got very little left to right when it's in neutral. In H pattern, when it's in the sequential mode, it has a similar amount of I have to, there we go, now it's in sequential. So when it's in sequential mode, it has a similar amount of play. That's not a problem. All gearboxes have that. I'm just calling it out. The form factor, I have it mounted like this so that the bell housing, I guess, is facing that way, and that works for me on this rig. It might be nice to have it the other way around as well. For me, that would mean I'd need the shifter down here, and I want my handbrake up here because I like my handbrake in between the shifter and the steering wheel. So yeah, guys, I will be using this in my rally streams especially, but also any H pattern driving that I'm doing in my league races. I stream every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 PM Irish and UK time. For now, I am in love with this thing. I'm Lawrence. I'll chat to you later.